Hey guys, how you doing? We've got another tutorial for you. This one about actually kind of drawing on the text. So like I said, we've got this scripty Sylvia's nonsense. Does it look all that good? No. Is it the best script typeface that we could ever find? No. But it is going to work for our purposes. And we also have a drop shadow behind it, which causes its own individual problems. But I'm also going to say, so this way that I'm going to show you today with masking out these letters is not the only way to do this, but it's the way that mostly corresponds to the other method of masking that we're focusing on. So there's a couple different ways to do this effect. You will always need to use the pen tool to kind of go through the tedium of creating the lines, and then what you do after that kind of changes. So it's not like it gets less tedious, but there are different ways to do it. So let's hop in. So as you know, I need to create a mask over these letters. And the way I'm going to do that is using the pen tool. So with nothing selected, so I've got no thing selected, I'm just going to click my pen tool. And I'm going to have no fill on this, so let me click. Remember, I'm clicking the word fill up here. And I'm clicking the red line through the white box for nothing. I'm going to click OK. And then I'm just going to go up. And I'm going to start where I want to kind of draw my line as if I was actually drawing. So I'm going to just click here. And then as I click my second one, so if you've never used the pen tool before, it will be an adventure. So I know that I want to curve around this first curve. So I'm just going to click here. I'm going to click and drag and create really an imperfect curve. And then when I get to this point and I say, all right, I want this line to continue this way, not to head down this way, I'm going to hold the Alt key and maybe an Option key on your Mac, and I get this little arrow, and I'm going to drag my pointer over so that it kind of heads in the direction I want it to head. So with that, I'm just going to keep, click. So I'm going to click the next one, drag it a little bit so it gets the curve I want, hold the Alt to kind of see where the rest of it's going to go, and let go. And I'm going to continue that. So I click, drag, Alt, let go. 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 Now, so I've got the S kind of drawn, and you can see what I'm trying to do is trying to get it right to the middle of where the line is. Let me zoom in just a hair. I'm trying to get it into the middle because eventually this line is going to have to cover all of this text underneath it. And so as close as I can get to the middle of the line, the better. So I will just keep doing this. Click, click, oh, click. And I'm just going to keep doing this motion to cover up the rest. Oh, death, you should have clicked Alt, but I clicked a space bar. And you can always just Control Z or Control Option Z on a Mac at any time if you want to undo one of these lines you're drawing. So just know that ahead of time. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to finish this guy off because this takes forever. And you can see me in a second. All right, so you can see I've gone through and I kind of did my scripty font as much as I could. I kept it connected. If you want to do different pen strokes for every letter, that's also fine. So I just did one long beat. So you can see, actually, so let's say I have not made it a mask yet. So starting off, your mask is probably going to look pretty thin, right? So it probably looks like an 8 or a 9. But you can see that the letter forms underneath are not fully covered up by the mask. So I'm going to need to go into my stroke properties, and I'm going to need to go up a little bit, and if it helps, so I can even just click on this and then use my arrow key to kind of up and down the thickness, which helps me to kind of stop when it needs to stop. And if I get to a thickness, I don't want to make it too thick because it starts to cover up other letters, which is a problem. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get it as close as I can get to there. And then I'm going to try and just do a little bit of finagling. So I'm going to go back to my pen tool. I'm going to click on a couple of these shapes. I'm going to see if I can't get it just a little more precise with it. just so that I'm not wasting my time with unnecessarily thick letter forms, right? Because if I can do a thinner, God damn you, if I can do a thinner line, all the better. So you can see I can just fix up by just clicking on each point and then just dragging to create, the curves that I want, all the better. So I've got this guy. I'm going to drag him just a hair. And then this guy needs some help with this. As we can see. Oh, this guy up here definitely needs some help. Oh, that's not actually what I want to do at all. You can kind of see the workflow. Is this more it? Yeah, there we go. You can kind of see the workflow of starting to cover these things up more appropriately than maybe they were at the start of the composition, which is the whole goal of this thing. So I could potentially go and cover these things up, take my time, get them going, but I don't really need to. So now, like we would normally do in the other tutorial with that rectangle, I'm just going to go down. I've already got it named script mask. It's already above my Sylvia's letter form. I'm going to go into the track matte properties. Again, if you don't see it, I would click toggle switches and modes, as long as you see track matte right here. I'm going to go down and select alpha matte script mask. So it's going to say only when the script is covering it do we do it. So now in my script mask, now this is the only other step besides the square, is I'm going to go in and I'm going to go to this add button and click its triangle and go trim paths. So I'm basically adding an effect into this contents, into this line. So in my trim paths, if I open it on up, so you have a start and end and an offset. So usually I have to play with these to remember which one do I actually need to animate at the start or the end. So if I animate the start, we can see it would actually draw in reverse. Because if I went from 100 and I went down to 0, it'd be drawing the opposite way. So I do want to do the end one. So I'm going to go to end. Let's see, when does my brick oven come in? Never? Okay, cool, beautiful brick oven. Oh, Jesus. All right, so let's say for a second I want it to start, so I'm going to click my end keyframe to create one keyframe. I'm going to go to where the actual end will be, create another keyframe. Because what I'm animating here is the start or the end point, right? So I'm not animating like when I want the animation to start or end. I'm animating, all right, I want the end point to end here, and I want it to be here at this point. But at this point, I want the end point to be at the start. So I want the end to be at 0. So I'm going to go click this little arrow to get myself back to this keyframe exactly. And then I'm going to just change this property here to 0, making it invisible. And now, when I go to hit play, voila, it writes right on. And now this is not perfect. You can see, I've got some weird cuts into my A. I've got a weird, shadow on my S. So I might want to even go back and say to myself, okay, script mask, let's pump up the size of the mask just a bit so I can just you can see myself filling in that shadow just a little more. But that will create problems with, how thick the line is will then make it so that it overlines stuff. So that's kind of like the benefit. So you can see here a whole chunk of this A shows up before I really want that A to show up, which causes a problem. So it's really a balance between making the line thick enough to cover everything, but thin enough that it doesn't cover anything else. So it can be a finicky animation to get right. So I'm just going to actually go and get that so it doesn't cross the A before it should. So yeah, we're just going to do a little bit of that. And, if we get some weird shadows, so be it for this point in the class. So that's how you do it. That's how you get this script to be rolling, and that's how you get it to write on. So it does take time. It can be a little bit tedious, but, I think that the effect actually is, overall pretty worth it. So thanks, and I'll see you in the next tutorial.